With the low-key flashback heating up, there's a lot going through the community's mind, as this flashback may turn how we view the series on its head. So, what's the best thing to do in this situation? Well, in my eyes, it's ask the community for their hottest takes to see where everybody's mind's at. So, strap in, because I'm about to get real in depth with this video. But before I do jump into the video, if you guys do enjoy content like this, you know what to do. Hit that like button and subscribe, as I do post content like this regularly, and to be honest, it's a win-win. You guys show me love and support, and I give it back to you in the form of videos. Whether it's One Piece, other anime, or just fiction in general, in due time I plan on covering it, so be there when I go there. But I feel like I've rambled on long enough, so I'll jump straight into the video and get into your hot takes. Now before I do jump into the video for real, I'm gonna say this. I'll be covering like 10 or so hot takes, maybe even more, maybe a little bit less, depending on how good they are and, to be honest, how in-depthly I want to go in on that take. And yes, I will be choosing at random, so without further ado, let's get into it. Also, one thing to add, if you guys do want to obviously get in these types of videos, is I will be doing these monthly, maybe even bi-weekly, or whenever Oda goes on break, I don't know. Whenever that happens, just know that I posted this in my community tab, so yeah, that is where you're most likely going to see it, or you may see it on my Twitter. I'll put that up on screen. I may do that, but mostly it'll be on my YouTube community tab, so yeah, if you want to get your hot take in here, then you know where to go. But anyway, the first hot take is from Ben Zolis. Please say that properly. If I didn't and I butchered it, then my bad. But the take is, the story needed actual bounty hunters turning in pirates. Now, I actually do agree with this. I feel like this isn't really a hot take, as I do hear a lot of people do say this, but if it actually is a hot take and not a lot of people do believe this, I'm not gonna lie to you. This is probably one of the better things that the community has spoken up about over the years. I think this is probably like top 3 things that we probably do need inside the story. I personally do believe that I would like if you had a random pirate straight up to Luffy and the crew, even if it was like a chapter thing, and you had the Straw Hats just dealing with them, just showcasing their strength, letting people know that they're not a crew to mess with. That would be nice. Or let's say, for instance, we got like a little side part of a chapter or something, and you have actual pirates coming to take down other really popular crews. I don't know why that's not a thing. I feel like Oda introduced it, thought it was cool, but didn't know where to actually expand upon it. That's what I believe. I think if they showed Zoro doing it in some capacity and Oda then expanded upon it, that would have been better, but I don't think we actually ever saw Zoro doing that, which is pretty insane. On a scale of 1 to 10, where I'd rate this hot take, I mean, as a hot take itself, it's a great take, but as a hot take, I'm gonna rate it like a 2.5 out of 10, mainly because I see a lot of people do like say this point, regurgitate a lot. The take isn't bad, I love the take actually, but as a hot take, I wouldn't say it's a hot take. But the next take we're going to take a look at is from King Bear PvP, and that is, the East Blue is the most important saga in One Piece. Now, what do you mean by that? Now, the reason I say what do you mean by that is because, technically speaking, yes, it is, because that's when you meet the original 5, and without the original, like, I feel like a lot of the themes that are brought in there are built upon as the story goes on, and you would miss a lot of details with the original 5 if you did not. But in the context of One Piece right now, what would you say is the most important saga? Because people call sagas a lot of different things, from what I can tell. Like, are we gonna call Water 7 and Annie's Lobby the Annie's Lobby saga or something like that, or the CP9 saga, or the Robin Rescue saga? What would we call a saga? Because a lot of people can say that Gyre and Skypiea is the most important saga. I mean, I'm saying right now the most important saga in One Piece could be the final saga, as we're finding out everything. So I mean, and I think Oda himself did say that you could skip all of One Piece and just start the final saga, and you can just understand the whole entire story. So you could say the final saga is the most important saga, but the East Blue, I do see an argument for it, because if you don't watch it or read it, you won't understand a lot of the things about the characters, and you will mischaracterize a lot of the characters. So yeah, I think that could be a hot take. I think I'm trying to like piece it together, because I feel like a lot of people would agree with that, but I do feel like a lot of people would make an argument for a lot of other popular sagas, and sagas that are very, very strong, like Gyre and Skypiea, or even the Marineford saga that stretches from Sabaody, or no, Sabaody, I don't think Sabaody is involved. You could involve Sabaody, but Sabaody to Amazon Lily to Impel Down to the Marineford. Maybe that's just the most hype, but you could say that's the most important. No, to be honest, I don't think it could. No, because at least into the post time skip, you could. Yeah. Look, every saga has a like the Yonko saga. That's a long saga as well. That covers a lot of arcs. Hey man, that's you know what? Yeah, I'm gonna rate that hot take like on a hot take level, 7 out of 10. On next we have Polar Stone, and if you guys haven't, I think you guys should check out his channel, as his channel was pretty cool. But his take is, give Law future sight, and unironically he might enter the top 10. Knowing exactly where he needs to teleport, or knowing what his target will throw at him, is an insane resource for a strategic fighter like him. And I feel like if you gave Law future sight, would he be top 10? There is an argument for it, and he does actually explain that argument pretty well. Putting him in the top 10 is actually, the more that I think about it, if you put Law in the top 10, could that work? See, this is where we now have to think about matchups against people like Garp or Sengoku or some of the admirals, or maybe even you could argue Luffy could be at the bottom of that top 10, and so he would then have to fight people like Luffy. And my main thing for Law isn't anything like AP wise or anything. I'm just worried about his stamina. Does he have enough stamina in the tank to bang with those top 10s? Now I know saying that and then mentioning Luffy does sound pretty hypocritical, but, and this is a massive but, I think that Luffy has enough attack power to be there. I'm not saying that Law doesn't, but Luffy's is very, very potent, while Law's is strong. Don't get me wrong, Law does have great AP, but is it to the level of Luffy's? I don't think so. And I do believe that Luffy's stamina may be a little bit better. So this is actually a really hot take, and I can see where you're coming from. I just think that if Law got a few more just like stamina feats as a whole, then I think you can actually make that a real argument. I just want to see where his stamina is at. That's just like I know we've seen his stamina, but I think that his stamina could be tweaked a little bit. Maybe I'm tripping. Maybe I am tripping, and Law does actually grant that. But I can see him hanging at like 12. Because Future Sight for his Devil Fruit is extremely useful. Yeah. This is a very hot take. I'm going to give this hot take like an 8.5 out of 10. I can see where you're going with this. Moving on, our next hot take is Shanks and Mihawk are stronger than Roger and Whitebeard. Why? Okay, now this I'm gonna rate this as a hot take, like just instantly. This is a 10 out of 10 hot take in my opinion. I know a lot of the community does think this, but I don't get it. Me personally, I don't think that Shanks and Mihawk are stronger than Roger and Whitebeard, but I can see why you think, like, I can always get the people that think that the newer generation does surpass the older generation, but man, you had Whitebeard having the world's strongest man title in an era where you had Garp Roger, but he is saying that Shanks and Mihawk are stronger than Roger, which does mean that he's stronger than Garp, and he's also saying stronger than Whitebeard. So I can see where his head is at. I'm not gonna sit here and say that he's talking dookie or anything. I'm obviously gonna entertain this, but I mean, that's a very hot take. Would I think that? I mean, I've said it in multiple of my videos, especially recent videos. I don't think that. I think Shanks and Mihawk are below Whitebeard. Stronger than Roger. You can put Mihawk above Roger if you wanted. You can put Shanks on the exact same level or even stronger than Roger. I wouldn't bat an eyelid. But Whitebeard? Hey, man. Hey, maybe that's just big dog to me. Maybe that's big homie to me. But I don't know. Oh, and that take was from Zame, by the way. Moving on, our next take is from Trop1Kill. And they say, people do not discuss the nuance of potential ability interactions enough when talking about versus battles. In the One Piece debate community, they more so just focus on the vibes of how strong a character is, and that is why you have people who think Zoro is over Law and Kid right now. Okay. See, alright, okay, right, hold on. Let me, because I agree with this. I'll give what I rate this take 10, but I do agree with this, and this is something that I do want to point out, and it does obviously tie back to this because what else are we talking about? Right, so a lot of people do misunderstand what character strength is versus what it would be like in a versus battle, and this is what the person is trying to get across. What he is trying to say is that he believes that Law and Kid overall are a more complete package than Zoro, meaning that if Law and Kid were to get into a 1v1 fight with Zoro, they may not win, but Law and Kid are just overall more stronger, but that's just a bad matchup for them. I'm not saying that's what he's exactly trying to, like, he's not saying that, oh, Zoro can beat Law and Kid in the fight, because I don't think that's what he's trying to say. I think he's just trying to say that people think that obviously because of vibes and just how strong a character looks, they are then stronger than other characters. Now I'm also trying to build off of that, because he does say at the beginning that people don't discuss the nuance of a personal ability or potential ability, and this is something I've been yelling for years. Why? Because I've been saying this for Boa Hancock for the past 5 years. Like, come on. Like, especially with what we're seeing in these recent chapters, I'm telling you, some of these characters are meant to be weirdly overpowered. Sugar, Boa, like, there are characters in One Piece that have one-shot clauses, but a lot of people don't want to focus on them because maybe they don't seem as powerful and the story doesn't portray them in that way. But when it comes down to these interactions, yes, certain devil fruits are just going to overpower many characters. That's just how the story is, and that's just how devil fruits were meant to work in the first place. That's why the whole of pre-timeskip One Piece, well, not the whole, but the majority of it was about how does this devil fruit match up with the other one. That's where the whole creativity side of it comes from. That side has been put a little bit to the side, but not ditched completely. This is still One Piece. This isn't like One Piece 2.0 where it doesn't matter. It does. So why I'd rate this hot take from 1 to 10, I feel like, you know what, because a lot of the community don't actually understand that. They say they do, but they don't. I'm gonna rate this a 6.5 on the hot take scale. I feel like a lot of people do understand this, but you get into some of them debates, man, people don't understand it. Moving on though, we have a take from the Honored One, and they say Moria's laugh ain't as funny as some people make it out to be, and I quite like it. I may be in the few, however, I shall kishishi till the cows come home. I haven't listened to Moria's laugh in years. I feel very, you know what, I'm gonna go listen to it now. Okay, his laugh is kind of funny. I do like it. You know what, yeah, if that's a hot take, I haven't come across anybody saying that, but I can see why people just don't like Moria. So what am I gonna rate this hot take? A 7? A 5? 5 to 7 out of 10. We're gonna meet in the middle, a 6 out of 10 on the hot take scale. Next is Sake, and they also make pretty cool YouTube videos, so you guys go check them out. But their take is Kid is pretty clearly going to be a monster at some point in the series. He's been portrayed as the part of the, let's call it Big Three, alongside Luffy and Law for the upcoming generation, as far as captains go. So it's kind of weird seeing people say he won't come back or have insane showings later on down the line. Put some respect on his name. You know what? To me, I've already accepted that Kid may not come back. Kid may come back. Whether he comes back or not, I don't know. See, the thing is that I'm looking at the story right now, and I'm seeing the story as this grand thing that if Kid's not in it, that's fine. But if Kid's in it, that's fine. Like, him coming and then taking Loki on his crew would be cool. I'd love that. But what would he do past that? Like, he could do a few things, be a cool little rival to Luffy, but I feel like the story, and especially if Oda was younger and One Piece was a little bit shorter, then yes, I do think Kid coming back would be perfect. But in the way we're going, I feel like the story is leading us up to Emu or to Blackbeard and Kid. I mean, maybe he comes back in the epilogue. You know what? I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm like, I've been so far removed from Kid. Law I can see coming back, and I do understand what you're saying where he is meant to be a part of this Big Three. But I mean, he could be the unlucky one out of the three of them. You never know though. I'm not gonna count Kid out, as I've said, but yeah. Right, I think this is on the hot take scale. To be honest, as a lot of people don't like Kid, I'm gonna put this at a 9. This may be surprising, but I think a lot of people just don't like Kid and just don't want him to come back. So I think this is a very hot take. And so next up we have Moneymaker, and they say Blackbeard is a Yonko. Right, hold on. Blackbeard is a Yonko Commander level 1 threat right now. Let me explain. Blackbeard, Yonko with his crew, fought Law, Yonko Commander 1 level threat with his Sorry crew for 22 whole chapters, while Luffy fought Lucci, Yonko Commander 2 to 1 level threat without using any advanced Conqueror's Arcade once for 1.5 chapters. Shanks one-shot Kid, Yonko Commander 1 level threat with advanced Conqueror's Arcade, and the same goes for Kaido when he first fought Luffy, Yonko Commander 2 level threat. Okay. Law was cooking BB before once he used Black Vortex, the move that nullifies your power, your fruit powers. As Kaido says, Haki over Devil Fruit BB only has off-screen Haki. See, I get it if he didn't discuss Shanks. I get it if, you know, he didn't fight Garpus and Goku in Marineford. I get it if, you know, if you know, he commands a Yonko level crew. I get it if he didn't defeat Marco and the rest of the, you know, Whitebeard pirates. I mean, I get it if he didn't bully Ace. I mean, I get it if his pops wasn't rocks. I feel like Oda throughout this flashback has been showing us rocks, so we weren't surprised about Blackbeard's strength when he does fully reveal it. I don't like, as a hot take, this is a 10 out of 10. Boy, I don't think anybody here is gonna top that. Like, I'm being so serious, but whew, and you can't say that once he used Black Vortex, like he then won. Like, that's it, one of his abilities. That's like saying, oh, once Luffy goes Gear 5, it's unfair, because like you can't really say that. You can't say that. You can't say that. Like, this is a 10 out of 10 hot take. Like, bro, you know, Blackbeard is wow. Okay, so moving on, we have another hot take, and this is from GBE. I hope I said that properly. But your take is Sanji is most likely to leave the Straw Hats for his own ambitions. women. Well, no, because he already turned that down. But if you really want to go that far, I mean, look, listen, I can drop some spoilers right now, and this whole video will get blown. Hey, boy. Hey, look, we'll look back to last chapter. We saw Roger throwing away his own ambitions to, well, not really, well, kind of, but still. Roger was fiending. He was fiending. So I don't want to say too much, but all I'm saying is Sanji ain't as bad as you think. Is this a hot take? Yeah, because the story literally like disproves this. Actually, no, it's not a hot take, because in the community a lot of people do think this when alright, is this a hot take? Yes or no? No, not really. Actually, when you think about it, I'm gonna put this like a 4 out of 10, but it really should be a hot take. Depending on how long this next one or the one after that is, I may do a few more. Right, so the next hot take is from Boyo, and they say Enel is on par to being Yonko level because his devil fruit powers are the most destructive we have ever seen in One Piece. He also has great observation haki, and if he went down to earth, he could easily take down big shots in less than 2 minutes compared to Luffy, who takes hours to days. Using the argument of being beaten by a pre-time skip Luffy is stupid because he was fully immune. Imagine one guy have a hole punched through their chest by the strongest punch in the world, and you take that same punch and don't even have a scratch. Enel was never truly defeated on Skypiea and was only knocked out by Luffy before he continued to go to the endless earth. Even with Luffy being immune, he was still able to box him like crazy. Okay, cool. Alright, the reason I'm saying he ain't Yonko level is because number one, he was taking licks and was getting damaged by a pre-time skip Luffy. Right, now what I mean by this is he was taking real damage and he was like, oh wait, I'm losing. Like, I know he couldn't hit him, but it's like you're still taking, like, if Luffy punched Shanks as many times, if Luffy hit the exact same amount of attacks that he hit on Enel on Shanks isn't going down. Shanks is gonna be like, okay, nice Luffy, felt much worse, but you gave it your all. Kaido, we know he ain't taking damage. Big Mom won't take damage. Blackbeard, he was screaming shout a little bit. He ain't going down though. Whitebeard, old Whitebeard at that, he ain't going down. Like, every Yonko in this series is eating those punches. Now, taking damage from those attacks, yeah, I think they are very destructive. Like, Enel is probably one of the most destructive people inside of One Piece, just pure devil fruit wise, but I don't think he's taking them down in less than 2 minutes. I think he's getting taken down in less than 2 minutes. That's what I think. Now, what I will say is that if he did enter the story nowadays, I could actually see him at that level. Does that make sense with you guys? Like, I think you're talking about the Enel that appeared in the, like, I feel like if you're saying like Enel comes down to earth again, like upgraded, then yeah, easily he has the potential. I even think he has Conqueror's Haki to a certain degree, but if it's all about pre-time skipping though, nah. But if he was to come back down to earth, I can see it, but no. So, but from what I can gauge from what you're saying, I think you're referring to pre-time skip. If that's the case, then I do believe that this is a 10 out of 10. No, this is like a 9.8. This is a hot take. I've seen a few people say that he could be Admiral level. I've seen a few people say that he is Admiral level before. So and you know how I think Admiral level and Yonko level is the same thing. So yeah, this is a hot take. Alright, we was in a hot take for a little bit. So this will be our final hot take. The last hot take is from Cheesy B, and they said, I will die on the hill that Kuma's backstory ruins anything that was remotely interesting about his character. Whew! Right, you know what? I'm gonna say this now. I didn't think this video would be this interesting. But this, you know what? I'm gonna give you guys a round of applause. because I've heard takes that I think I hear. What? Kuma's backstory ruins anything. I feel like you should expand upon this. I'm very kerfuffled. I'm reading this back over. Wait, what? Oh, okay, right. Right. What was Kuma before his flashback? As a community, what did we think about him? Revolutionary. Pretty cool. I think I viewed him as very cool before that. He's extremely. He's way more cooler now. I can see where you think he gets a little bit more boring because you know everything about him, but isn't that the whole point? Like, you know everything about Kuma, so you feel like he's like his character arc is done. Ruins anything that's even remote. Like, I feel like you're. Can I see what I think? See, I'm somebody that can see all sides of situations, and I think, I mean, I don't agree with it, not in the slightest, but I can see. What I'm going to assume is that you liked how he was very much like, he'd appear in the story, do something that would dramatically change it, and then leave, like with Zoro's moment, and then with him going to Sabaody. Then I think obviously later on with him then becoming a slave, that then asked, like, there was a few questions on there, but I feel like that's what you remember from Kuma, and that's what you found interesting about his character. You found him as this like guy that changes One Piece. You know what? Fun facts, I don't think I've told anyone this. In the pre-time skip, I thought he was actually a plot device. I thought Kuma was a plot device. I thought Oda had him as a character to spice up the story. That's something I've never told anybody, but that's something that I did believe. In pre-time skip, he was a like, and I can see how you would find that interesting. He shows up, does something very, very like, wow, who is this guy? He's apparently tied to dragon. He's a seventh warlord. Like, there's so many different things you didn't know about him, but now you know everything. Now you know his story. You feel like that mysteriousness about his character is gone. Like, Kuma went from being one of the most like cool, mysterious characters to being an emotionally cool character, if that makes sense. And I can understand why some people may find that like removing his interesting aspects, but I don't believe that. But yeah, that's a 10 out. That's an 11. Wow, you topped that other take. Bro, hey, you guys brought it today. I don't know how many, like, wow. Damn, okay. But nah, with that being said, that is the end of the video. I am still flabbergasted over our last take. Yeah, everybody in the comment section just like say what you want to say on that. Like, don't obviously like don't harass the person or anything, please don't, but please like talk about all the takes in this video. All the takes in this video are great in some way, but that last take, I'm stunned. This has made me want. This is fun. If you guys want me to do more of these, just say. But yeah, I love making this video. But yeah, I shall see you guys in the next video. I love you all. Good. Bye.